Do you enjoy going to Moulin Rouge as much as we do? Better yet, do you like going to concerts and sporting events?
SeatGeek helps people easily purchase tickets to these kind of events and unites people like you and us through live entertainment.
And things just got easier for you. As proud partners of SeatGeek, you can use our exclusive promo code CANCAN10 and you'll get $10 off of any purchase that is $250 or over.
Hey Lily, you've been eyeing up that can seat for a while now.
You're so right, Jules. I think I'm gonna go purchase it right now and use our code for a discount. Do you want to join?
Hell yeah.
Again, that's CANCAN10 to get $10 off of any purchase that is $250 or over. Only valid for your first purchase. Hey guys, it's your girl Lily here, one half of CanCan Talks, and I am here to tell you about our Patreon page. You don't know what Patreon is? Well, it's a platform to interact more with you guys. We post a lot of content on Instagram, but it does limit what we can post. For example, video length. Patreon allows us to post full-length videos of our episodes, as well as other cool things as a way to get to know us. You can sign up for a free subscription, you heard me, free, and you can view the full-length video recordings for a portion of our episodes. You can also join us for just $2 a month, and you'll have access to every full-length video recording, including the episodes with our special guests. We'll also be posting other fun content such as polls, exclusive updates on our upcoming guests, and so much more. Who knows? Maybe we'll live stream and let you guys see how we record an episode. Honestly, as a visual learner myself, I would love to have access to the video recordings of some of my favorite podcasts. So if you're like me, don't wait to sign up. Check us out at www.patreon.com/CanCanTalksPod and sign up for your free or $2 a month membership now. Again, that's www.patreon.com/CanCanTalksPod, linked in our episode description. Hello, welcome back to another episode of CanCan Talks. It's your girl Lily. I'm with my co-host Jules, and this is gonna be a fun episode. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Jules, let's get into announcements.
Announcement. So Austin Durant is playing Zidler next. That's super exciting because he was on Broadway back in 2019 when he kind of understudied Danny for a bit and then left to go to tour, and then now he's coming back. So I'm super excited. Everyone loves Austin. So he is taking over soon in May. And then we have a new Satine alternate. Haley Wright. She was just in Six recently because I saw her in Six. She played Catherine of Aragon. So she's going to be the new alternate, but she hasn't got a date announced yet. So her debut day is not sure, but hopefully we'll find out soon. But that's all the announcements I have.
I'm so excited for Austin. I saw him in Cincinnati on tour. He was amazing, so good. He did this little thing in encore where he kind of egged on the audience and turned around, showed his flashy jacket, and just soaked up all the claps and all the hollers, and I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I think that's the only news we have right now.
Yeah.
That's the big one. So, today's episode.
We're doing another deep dive. We are diving deep into the character of the one and only Harold Zidler.
Yes, Harold.
Harold.
Harold. Well, let's get into it. So, starting it off, I'm going to read you what the script of Moulin Rouge says about Zidler. This is it. So, Harold Zidler, the interesting. I don't know how to pronounce this word. The impresario. Oh, I probably buggered that up. Sorry, everybody. Of the Moulin Rouge makes a gloriously playful entrance. He seems almost a human. Too grand and showy. His manner is sly and oh my goodness, insinuating. Yet beneath his intoxicating flamboyance, there's genuine steel. He's a tough and professional, a survivor. So that's what the script says about Zidler. So we know he basically is the owner of the Moulin Rouge. He owns the club. So we know that he is the owner. He is basically like the ringmaster kind of thing. But he owns the place. So let's get into the beginning of who he is, where he's from, like basically basic details.
Yeah.
So,
We know that he has a bubbly personality, in a
mhm,
way, especially to the audience, of the
mhm.
Moulin Rouge. He's, he's the ringmaster. He's the guy who's bringing everybody, all the patrons, the patrons into the Moulin Rouge and welcoming them. And he's the one who's like announcing all the acts, and he's just got to have that energy, So
He's
he has like,
egging everyone on as well,
mhm.
doesn't he? He like eggs the Lady M's on and very supportive of the performers and everything. You see that in the movie as well, like how he's very open with everybody.
Jules is taking a drink of.
Sorry. Okay. So where do you think I mean, personally, I think he's from somewhere in France. He's
Yeah.
from he didn't come from Lima, Ohio.
I
We
think
know that
only Christian has come from Lima, Ohio, of all
possibly.
characters. I
I
don't
think so.
see anybody else coming from Lima, Ohio.
No one else wanted to live in Ohio, and that's fine. I don't disagree. Um, Sorry. Ohio hate. I should put
you
a
know.
dollar every time I insult Ohio. How
As
old
someone from Ohio, I understand. So,
how old do you think Ziedler is?
oh, this is tough because now I'm like thinking of like the actors who play Zidler, and it's just like a very wide range. But I want to say he's got to be at least 35, 40 years old.
I
Like,
would say 40 plus.
yeah,
Because
because
he's owned it for a while, so he's not going to be like this 21-year-old. But I think he's
right,
like
right.
40 and 40 plus, I think.
But right,
Um,
that the Moulin Rouge has been established, and that they have been running for how many ever years, that they've been running. So, and that because you also know from just the relationships that he has with the performers and with his employees and um, the people working there that Jules is looking through her.
I'm just gonna have a scene when the Moulin Rouge was established. Please keep going.
Yeah, but I think that he's definitely a lot older because he just has kind of this established life, and he's run the Moulin Rouge, and it's clear that he's had the experience of doing this show and running it and dealing with patrons and dealing with financials and dealing with all the people who perform there. So yeah, Jules, what did you find?
So far nothing. I'm trying to find about history, but
Is it in the? It might be in the
I think
back.
I
It
think
might be in the
it's
back.
in
She's looking through the Moulin Rouge program, by the way, like the big like
program.
program
Oh,
thing.
here we go.
Yeah.
1889, the Moulin Rouge opens its doors, and the aim of its founders, Joseph, whatever his name is, and Charles Zidler. Now, the movie is set in, not the movie. Bloody hell, you guys! I'm so sorry. I'm not on a good train today. Um, the Broadway show is set in 18.
99? Turn of the century? Or is that the movie?
Mm,
Guys, we don't know anything about this thing. Just kidding.
oh my goodness. When is it? Oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten that. How embarrassing. Do I have any spare? I think any of my playbills are near me. Um,
I thought it was 1899,
I
turn
think
of the
you're
century.
right, and this is really embarrassing. What's this? Nope, these are not it. Okay, we're gonna say 1899. It's probably wrong. So it's been open for like 10 years. And I mean, Ziedler is struggling a little bit. So we can also tell that Ziedler is not a good, not a great businessman because we know he's a businessman because he's got the Moulin Rouge. But we
Mhm.
can see he's not a great businessman, mostly for the fact that A, he has no money. He fired the sommeliers and the waiters. So he has no money. He spent it all on,
Costumes,
diamonds,
diamonds.
costumes, alcohol, because they used to drink back then. Alcohol,
That bottle of
watches,
absinthe that's
but
just there.
yeah. I mean, alcohol wasn't like crazy exp it depends what you were drinking. Like champagne, I think was
Yeah,
expensive, but
champagne
like
was, yeah.
some other stuff like wasn't like super expensive. I don't know how much absinthe was. Um, but even if it's anything like now, it's not crazy expensive. It's like you can get a bottle for like $30,
Hmm.
$40. But again, I don't know. This is just after like the re not the revolution, that's the wrong word to use. The Industrial Revolution was in Europe. So, but he's just not a great financial man. We know he's not great at finances. So he's a businessman, but his finances suck. He wouldn't last 2 seconds on Wall Street.
So
Basically.
true.
So we know that he's up and his quote, he is in hock up to his eyeballs. So he's screwed financially.
Yeah.
We know that. He spent all his money on all different stuff, like I said, diamonds, costumes. I mean, you got to pay the people. You got to
Hmm.
pay
Your employees.
your employees. Again, I don't know how much, I don't think it was the same it is now,
Yeah.
but still, you had to pay your people and pay your waiters and sommeliers and all that. So, yeah, we do know that he was a businessman. Um, how we acquired the Moulin Rouge? Well, I do not
I
know.
do. Yeah. I like
I
to
don't,
think that he, built it from the ground up, found
yeah.
Satine, found her talent and her beauty, and was
Mhm.
just like, let's run with it.
And
Don't know how they like managed to, get the nightclub, the building, the windmill, all of
the
that stuff.
fireworks,
The
all that.
fireworks, the elephants, the cages.
Well, and it seems like what you just said about Satine, Satine was basically um found on the streets, Uh and I think, Toulouse obviously knew her when she was on the streets, but I want to say that Ziedler found her on the streets and basically was like, "Hey, come perform at my nightclub." Um that's what I think anyway. So the other Lady M's, we know that they again must have been recruited because we know that uh, we know Arabia is from Morocco. So we
Hmm.
know Arabia was probably recruited and Nini and all them as brilliant dancers. So he was like, hey, come perform in my club. Um, so he recruited all these dancers, but Montmartre is and still is, if you go visit Montmartre to this day, very much where the bohemian world was basically
Hmm.
outside of
The
Paris. And
artists.
the artiste and all that. And so that was the perfect place for him to look to find these bohemians and to find these people who were doing different stuff and dances and stuff. So I think he definitely scoured around and found people. And while he was on that trek, he found Satine
Hmm.
and was like, and it says in the script, she's a beautiful woman. She's got a good sense of humor. She is um basically, I'm trying to think of the word to use to describe her. She is glamorous, she's commanding, she's fully aware of her worth, she's wicked sense of humor and smart. But beyond this, her our heroine has a deep humanity. She has suffered and her wounds are very close to the skin. And she's a star. And I think he did make her into a star.
Yeah. Yeah.
He took her from the streets and he was like, okay, I'm gonna make you basically like a star. You're gonna be the star of the Moulin Rouge. And he built her up from the ground up.
Hmm.
And I think he's really proud of
That's
that. So
that's
yeah.
how you get the sparkling diamond Satine.
hmm
Falling from the
Um,
swing. Like
that's what I
coming down
think.
from the swing.
That's what I
Also,
believe.
that swing,
Yeah,
like
it's not cheap.
not cheap. Like
Like,
the rigging, the yeah,
that's a
yeah.
cheap thing. I feel like expensive. Um
Uh, yeah, so I definitely agree with all of that. And then I think, obviously Satine was, picked from the streets, and from her past life, we know that her father had pimped her out. Prostitution was still big in the day, and so we kind of discussed this in the last deep dive with Satine, but Ziedler pimped Satine out to the Duke. And I'm
I think to other
sure
people too. I don't
I
think
yeah,
it
I
was
was like, I'm
just the
sure he
Duke.
did it. I'm sure the Duke is not the only person that he has
You know,
pimped Satine out to, or
yeah.
the other girls at the
So
Rouge.
exactly. So obviously we know she's a prostitute, like she was on the streets. And I think when they took her in, they were like, okay, well, and I think this is just me reaching. Maybe he did it as well in a way to get money.
Yeah,
Like, hey, we'll fund your club, we'll give you money, but like let us have like a few hours alone with Satine, kind of thing. I'm not
exactly.
saying
Yeah,
that did happen, but that could have been a thing as well.
yeah.
Hey,
I
we'll
mean,
fund
I
your
definitely
money.
agree. That's kind of how that business works. Obviously, you get money from
Doing,
prostitution,
yeah.
and
Or
well,
we'll
yeah.
give you diamonds, or we'll provide the club with alcohol or whatever, but
Mhm.
you have to do this for us, and
That's
that
like
is
it's a
how
bit
things
like sadly it's a
business.
business exchange. Sadly,
Um,
it's that way, but it is a business exchange at the end of the day.
yeah. So I think he was also in the business sense of that as well. He was like, okay, well, I have this very beautiful girl and I can pimp her out. And no, I agree. I think he did pimp out Satine, especially to the Duke, because he knew, and everyone knew the Duke had a lot of money. Duke had a crap ton of money. Um, and the fact that a Duke who's that high up in taste and all that, he's an English Duke, was coming to the Moulin Rouge to see her. Because there's no indication that he was coming before. However, bit of a tangent. This is what this episode is going to be like, it's me tangenting.
Yeah.
Um, if you've seen the show, you'll notice that when he's up in the box and they're doing burning down the house, the Lady M's are like kind of flirting with him. So either A, they've had some, I hate to say like had some experience with him, or B, they're just doing it to be, the Lady M's, and the Lady M's a badass woman, but they're also in a way, I'm not saying the Lady M's are prostitutes, but they
They're
are
trying to
basically
charm him.
they're trying to charm him. This is their job. Their job is to work in this nightclub that sells sex, basically. It's not it's a nightclub where people perform in corsets and all this. So, but then again, there's no indication that he's been before and that the Duke has come back before. Again, that's open to speculation. But he comes there to see this woman, and the Zidler's like, "Oh, wait a second. He's coming to see her. He has a lot of money. He could get me out the hole I'm in. Like I'm in debt. He could give me money and help
Mhm.
me go." And it's in a way, it's selfish, and he's selfish
Yeah,
about it. He's like, "Well, this is what I want. In exchange, you can have Satine. You can own her and everything and do whatever you want. You can own the club, but I'm getting money out of it. It's saving my ass." And a little bit of a tangent, but like that's what I think with the whole pimping out Satine. It is a selfish thing, and it was done. I mean, I'm not saying all the times was done selfishly. I think it was maybe just done for money, but this time with the Duke, it was very selfish, I think. And
yeah,
it was very, I'm gonna get money. They're gonna save my ass. I'm screwed. I'm up creek without a paddle. If this shuts down, I'm gonna be up back on the street, and no one wants to be on the street.
right,
So take the opportunity. He took the opportunity and he grabbed it, but he didn't realize how many people who are hurting in the process.
right. Like, I definitely agree. I think it was definitely a selfish thing, and I think like when we were talking with like James and Andrew, who were dukes, they we all kind of discussed that whole arrangement and the fact that like it was very between just Ziegler and the Duke. Like Satine had no say, the Lady M's had no say, and you can understand that like through the just kind of the confusion. I think it's after Shut Up and Raise Your Glass, and a little bit before Firework, where the Lady M's and Satine are talking, and even Baby Doll is just like, is that true? Is the Rouge going broke? And it's like kind of like this hearsay thing of like, is it was it Lashak or is it no, it might be Nini who says like, he's broke chickens, you know what I mean? Like, but it's very up in the air. Nobody really knows what the financial situation is. And even when Satine is just like, are we going broke to Ziegler? Ziegler kind of covers it up a little bit. And just like, no, we'll be fine as long as we have the Duke, we will be fine. So he's kind of covering up his own ass.
No, you're right. I'm reading the script bit and it says that like open your eyes to teen. Ziedler's already cut the waitstaff in half and he fired the last sommelier today. He's broke chickens. Enjoy the job while you have it because you know what this building will be in a year, a post office or a train station or a whorehouse. Good, then you won't
You
have
don't
to
have to
leave.
leave.
And then Ziedler's like playing it off and she's like, how bad is it? And she's like, well, you know, and he's honest and he's like, we're we're broke. And so that's why they need the Duke, because they're broke. Um, yeah, and like, do you know what it reminds me of?
What?
But every time I think of it, okay, so anyone here who knows Elvis Presley? So there's a movie, Elvis, that came out, was actually directed by Baz Luhrmann. Great
Mm-hmm.
movie. But there's a
With
scene in the
Austin
movie,
Butler, by the way.
Austin Butler was great, and Tom Hanks is in it too. And there's a bit where he signs the agreement about Elvis basically staying at the one hotel, I can't remember the hotel's name, for like a long time. And he
Mm-hmm.
does it behind Elvis's back and he does it like all secretive. Every time I see that scene during ELM, I immediately go back to the Elvis scene.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh, this was an Elvis that this happened. And and it did. That's what happened. It was behind everyone's back and it was like, you know, and like the Duke says, he's like, I own you all now and I own Satine and you will work for me basically. And I fund this club and now it's my business, Harold. Like you don't control it anymore.
Yeah.
And he accepts defeat because you hear him the way he says it when he's like, oh, how's that work for a negotiation and stuff like that, and he's like, are you in a I can't remember fully what he says off the top of my head, and he he's asked him what's it to be right now, yes or no, and Zidler kind of very hesitant, he's like, yes. um and you can see Zidler is quite like he's a bit like, what have I just got myself into?
Right, exactly.
Okay,
And you can see
I've
it on his face. You
yeah,
can kind
like
of like when he goes,
oh,
like, how's that for a negotiation? And they like
and
clink glasses or whatever. He's very, very hesitant. And you can see it on his face of like, crap.
yeah, and especially at the end of that like thing when he says like, "Oh, remember I own all of you," and he walks and the Duke walks off stage and Zilla's there, and he is that moment. He's like, "Oh my God, what have I just done?" Because
Hmm.
now I've just signed this without telling anyone, and at this point, I think he knows something might be going on between Christian and Satine because
Yeah.
he's not an idiot. Zilla's not an
No.
idiot, and even during the pitch song, the way they act and stuff.
Hmm.
So I think at this time he kind of knows, oh crap, like and he doesn't tell Satine. He doesn't even bother to tell Satine. It kind of just comes in, oh, the Duke's here a lot now. I mean, he might have told her, we just don't see that in the part. Um, but
I mean, based on the way that they kind of act the story out, it does kind of look like
she mentions that we need
Satine
to get him, but then it doesn't
doesn't,
show what
yeah,
actually happens.
yeah.
So yeah, that's just my thinking of it.
Yeah, I just think like going back to what you said about like him doing this for himself and he doesn't really understand that it's hurting other people. I definitely think like he might have other people's interests in his mind, possibly of like maybe if I keep this under wraps, like I can calm people down. You know what I mean? It's just like not this big kind of hysterical moment of like, oh my God, we're going broke. What are we gonna do? And like all of his employees are like up in flames, like we're going broke. What are you doing? And everybody's mad at him, kind of a thing. So he's just like, maybe I can keep it under wraps and like the Duke will just slowly fund and it'll be like a nice partnership until the Duke kind of switches and it's just like, no, I own you, I own this club. then he's just like crap. And yeah, so I think that is I think he did have kind of, you know, best interests at heart, but then at the same time he also just did not understand that keeping it under wraps, even though he thought that it was going to be like the best for everybody, he didn't understand that it was actually going to hurt other people in the end. So
No, I agree. So I think you see that in Act Two. He starts to think like, oh crap. Because during Backstage Romance, they had that moment and Zidler sees it and he kind of like it depends on the Zidler you watch, but Eric used to do this and they do it on the West End. But that moment when they're like, oh, can you come over tonight? I don't know, I think he has plans for us. Near the end of that, when they kiss, I've seen it, Eric have been like, ah! Like basically trying to stop them, like, hey, stop
mhm.
it. Um, and again, it depends on the Zidler you see, but so Zidler knows something's going on. And then he's
Yeah.
also got this thing going on with Duke, and he's like, well, I'm trying not the Duke to let to see that because I need the Duke to give me money, and if he finds out, he's not gonna give me money. And he's funding, and he's gonna pull out a funding. And I think you can see as well that he's trying his best to keep that under wraps and that he's trying to keep the Duke happy. Because
Yeah.
even in rehearsal scene two, like when the Duke gets mad, he walks over and he's like, "Gentlemen, please." And then even when the Duke comes back, he hands him like a glass of champagne and tries to get him to settle down.
And
Um,
even when it's like that scene of like she doesn't love you, and then that kind of look over at Ziedler, even like it depends on the Ziedler, but the Ziedler, sometimes like I don't know anything, like
yeah,
looks
like what?
around clueless, like no, what, huh?
Mhm.
And you kind of know that like he knows anyway.
He knows, yeah.
He knows. By
And
that point, I think he does know.
or like when he tried to diffuse the situation. So like when in Act One, not Act One, sorry, the first rehearsal scene. Um, once he's like all my things sparkle and Christian shoves down the papers, he's just like, I think we might call it a
A
day.
day.
He tries to like upbeat, like, oh, okay, anyway. And you do see that he tries to push it and be like, okay, it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I really do think that he is it's a bit selfish, I think. It's not everyone loves Zidler. Everyone loves Zidler. Oh, he's so funny. And he is. He's great. He's a great character. However, if we deep dive, he's not the
He's
best
not
person in the
really.
world.
No.
Um,
He has his flaws for
and there's
sure.
flaws. Who doesn't in this cast so far?
Honestly,
So
yeah.
far in the characters, we're number three. Every single one of them have a
That's
flaw
a
right
flaw.
now.
Yeah.
So, God knows when we get to Dookie and all those people, who's not going to have a flaw?
Exactly.
Anyway, so
I also want to add like kind of because I put this in my notes, it's just kind of also a flight or fight response or a fight or flight response. In a way, it's just like Zealer decides to, fight a little bit, in a way. And especially when it's like, how's that for a negotiation? And they like clink glasses and it's just kind of, and like also during ELM where it's like the dude kind of puts pressure on Ziedler a little bit and it's just like or you'll be out on the streets like the whores you are, like that thing. It's like he's using that scare tactic a little bit and Ziedler is, it's kind of that.
the Duke is good at doing that.
Yeah. And it's like the fight or flight response of like, okay, can I get out of this? Like, do I have to say? And then he ends up agreeing and he says yes. And he's just like, I want to keep. Are you good?
I have pins and needles in my legs.
No.
Sorry. Okay, keep going. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
It's just it's
Oh.
uncomfortable.
Oh no. Um, so yeah, I think he decided to kind of like he kind of decided to fight in a way because he wants to keep the Rouge alive. He wants to keep the nightclub alive. And so he's just like the even like Satine is like the Duke is the best way out. And it's just like he also agrees. Like Ziedler's just like, yes, the Duke is our only source of money and we need to count on him for and we need to please him in every possible way so that he can give us money and I can get out of this hole that I'm in.
And that's the thing, like, even when Satine says the same stuff, like, or he even says to Satine, like, that this may be your only way out, but also like, what is it? They say it's something like he could save us, but like the Duke. And Satine, not the Duke, I'm so sorry, Zidler and Satine. Satine says, I can't live on my body and my looks forever. And probably Zidler thinks the same way. He's like, oh, I can't live on performing, all this, being a businessman till I'm like 90, but then also I don't want to be on the streets.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to suck it up and just do this and hope someone takes over. But I don't want to. I said, no one wants to be on the street. You hear Baby Doll. Baby Doll says they don't want to go back to the underground clubs. None of them want to be on the street because it was probably, and we've talked about this before, probably a really rough time on the streets
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then. Pretty rough what was going on. There was a lot of crime and a lot of it wasn't clean. It was, crime. It was underground stuff happening. It was like just not fun for them. So they're like, well, we found this place. If we can help it, let's not leave. But no, I agree. I definitely think there was pressure. It was definitely a pressure. Like he kind of like a scare tactic, like, well, you know, um, what's it gonna be? Because if not, you're gonna be out on the street. But if so, I'll finance a new. What is it? He says, blah 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 blah. I finance a new show because it pleases me to do so.
Hmm.
And that's what he said. He's just doing it as a doesn't really mean a lot to the Duke. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Not nothing else to do, really.
Hmm.
And I
Like,
like
I
the
got
girl.
money.
No, I
I
got
gotta spend
money.
it.
So, but yeah. Okay. Relationship with Pierre. So we know they have like a little
Little
relationship going
thing.
on.
Spin off. That's Moulin
Spin
Rouge
off
part two. Is
part.
that's the part.
We got to talk about that in part two. Again, we're
Yeah.
still writing the script, you guys. Just patience. Rome
It
wasn't
takes a
built in a
while.
day.
Didn't
Rome
it?
wasn't built in a day.
Didn't Hamilton take like years to write? So
Exactly, guys. Moulin Rouge 2 is gonna be the next Hamilton.
yeah.
Like it's gonna shock the world. Um so relationship with Pierre. Now I think we're gonna obviously do a deep dive on Pierre,
Oh, we have to.
but I think Pierre, they started like even in Shut Up and Raise, and then he was like, well, let me introduce him to the Duke. And the Duke took him under his wing. But the relationship, I have a feeling that Zidler would sometimes tell Pierre stuff.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, this is going on and this. And then Pierre would crawl back to Dookie's apartment and be
As
like,
we see.
so basically, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think Pierre also would do his own because, the Duke
He's
does
there.
say, like, he
He's
followed you
also,
to,
yeah, and he's
and he's
also
also
there at the club. So
he's in the club. He's a
yeah,
club member. He
he's there.
sees everything. You
Hmm.
see it in Chandelier and all that. So
He sees everything.
sees it all. But I think they had a little relationship. Now in Boston, so pre-Broadway, Zidler does talk about that he had a lover
Mhm.
and his lover died of consumption. So Zidler is known for having his lovers, but Pierre is the recent lover.
Yeah,
Pierre's quite young as well, so I don't know, maybe that's just Pierre's his go-to now. So they have like a
wingman,
little
like
wingman
wingman,
relationship.
but like also a little bit of a
A little bit of a Pierre's a little interesting little character, but we'll get into that more
we
next
love
time.
fear.
We love Pierre. So, question, what do you think would have happened had he let Satine be with Christian?
Ooh, I mean, I, hmm. I mean, obviously that would be her choice because, like as we said with the Satine deep dive, we know that Satine also kind of relies on the Duke a little bit because he shows her the life that she could have, which is a very stable life with money, with a house, with wardrobe. And she likes that idea. But I also like her heart might also tell her Christian. Christian's the one for me. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I think in her heart she kind of knows. But as far as Ziedler goes, sometimes I do wish that he would have at least been a little bit more lenient because he's like, you have to be with the Duke, you have to be with the Duke. And I know we said this in Satine's deep dive that like at that point after rehearsal scene two, where he's just like like, you have to be with the Duke, and he's like yelling and screaming at her, and she's coughing up blood, may I add. She is sick, she is dying, and he is very blindsided by like what he wants, that like he doesn't understand that your star is dying, and also that she is in love with Christian. And sometimes I wish you could be like a little bit more lenient on that, but I like to think that like had the Duke like not funded or whatever, or he didn't take the deal with the Duke and he let Satine be with Christian, that like Christian's show and like and Toulouse's show and like the choreography, it would have brought a new life to the Moulin Rouge and people would have liked it. And it's like theater, like we go to the Moulin Rouge, we go to Moulin Rouge on Broadway because we like it. We like the dancing, we like the jumping and the kicking, and we like the singing and the story. And I don't even think that like the show like with Lady Marmalade and with the can dancers and the Sparkling Diamond, it didn't really have a plot. This has like a plot to it, and it's like a very interesting show. And so it's just like Zeeler didn't even give that a chance, to like make something new at the Rouge and create something from the ground up and create something kind of fresh that nobody has ever seen, really.
No, I agree. It's it's difficult. I'm trying to see if it's in the script anywhere about how he feels about it. I mean, he does say like, we're creatures of the underworld. We can't afford to love. I think yeah, he has gotten in too deep. Um, and he's like, you can't be with him. Like we have this what's the word to use? Not connection with the Duke. This deal basically. This deal with the Duke, and you have to
And
go do this.
not to mention, like, the Duke is also, at this point, the Duke is known to be a little bit dangerous, or not known,
Well,
but like it's said that he's dangerous. We don't know it for
allegedly.
sure. Allegedly, he's
Allegedly.
dangerous, but
Nini could just be saying
saying
that
stuff, yeah, hearsay.
for like it's hearsay, Your
It's
Honor.
literally hearsay because we
Yeah,
only hear it from her. We
yeah.
only hear that story from her.
And
We don't hear it from the
sh
Duke. We don't hear it from the Duke directly. We just hear it from Nini.
now, now, I will say the Duke does not help his case. A
No, he
little bit
doesn't.
further on, as he says, and I quote, this is what he says to Satine. You will reject the boy. You will shatter him. You will break his heart. Or believe me, my girl, I'll have him snatched off the street, that handsome face beaten to a bloody pulp, his throat slit ear to ear, and then you can weep your pathetic love songs over his cold, dead corpse.
Doesn't really help
Yeah,
much. It doesn't
well,
really help much.
that's not really helping your argument, Dookie. I remember hearing that for the first time. I was like, Dookie, you're so stupid. Why would you say
Why would you
that?
say that?
But then again, he could just be saying it to fret. It's like what is it James said? Who
Who
hasn't
has a
threatened to
card to
kill
kill
someone?
someone?
And it's a silence.
Silence. Silence
Sure.
after that.
No one's gonna openly admit that. So yeah, I think he's probably feeling the threat too. He's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what this man could do. And then she turns against him. What's he gonna do to me? Again, it goes back to that whole selfishness. Selfish.
But to be
Selfish
fair,
man.
he is
To
the
be
runner.
fair.
To be fair, he is the showrunner. He is like, he is the big businessman. He runs the Moulin Rouge. So everything that he does is gonna like topple over him. You know what I mean? Like if it goes downhill, it's like they're all going downhill, but he gets like the
You're
most
all
of it.
going down with me,
Yeah.
basically.
You're all going down with me, but he gets the most of it because he's the one who struck this deal with the Duke, and
Hmm.
he's the one who's kind of in charge of everything up to this point. So it's like he doesn't really know what to do because everything is like chaotic and wild and all these deals, and like he's trying so hard to keep it up and to keep this deal going, but like there's so much stuff that's going on in the background and he has to handle all of that, and oh my gosh. Even I couldn't imagine being in that much stress.
No, I agree. Okay, so this is a good question. Do you think that they would have survived without the Duke? No. I think they were on a road to destruction because
Yeah.
he had no money, he was firing people, he was broke. He was struggling
They have
and
this new show, but where are they going to get all the props and stuff
well,
and like all the
it's
new stuff that's going on?
well, even before the show started, they were struggling, even just in the nightly show. And then this new show happened, and it's new costumes, and it's props, and it's backdrops, and it's all this stuff, and it's whatever. They just weren't going to survive without the Duke. And that poses another question of what happens. Again, we're going to go back to the whole what happened after Satine dies. What happened to Zidler? What happened to the Moulin Rouge? Did the show run for 50 years, like they say in the song? I want to say the show was successful, and I think we've had this conversation with some other people. The show was successful, and I think that they did end up replacing Satine possibly with another lady, yeah, maybe with Arabia or Nini or whoever,
Hmm.
and the show did go on. Do I think that Christian stayed? Probably
Probably
not.
not.
The
It's
Duke
too it's
left.
too much hurt for
Yeah,
Christian.
I don't think the Duke probably was like, yeah, I'm done.
No,
Pulled
yeah.
out and
Yeah.
they had to make the money themselves. Do I think it ran for 50 years? Probably not. Again, you're going to run out of money, and Ziedler is a crappy businessman.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that it tried to stay open as long as possible.
Yeah.
But then after these events, so what, 1899, give it 11 years, not 11 years, 13 years time, World War II breaks
Hmm.
out. Well,
Yeah.
no, 14 years time. Yeah. World War, not World War Two. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. World War One breaks out. So
American history,
does,
guys.
sorry, I didn't even go to school here.
World history.
Um, um, okay, so World War One obviously breaks out in Europe around what, 1914.
Yeah.
So does it shut down because of the war? Does it keep going? And again,
Does
and then
everybody have consumption at this point?
yeah, what's going on now? Because consumption can be spread. So at this point, it's like, does it stay open? Does it not? Does it, you know? Again, it's such a big, like, we could do a whole episode on future scenarios. I think we should do a whole episode
Yeah,
on future
we should
scenarios
because
because so much is possible, and that's what's so great about it. Again, Moulin Rouge 2, Dooku's Revenge.
Dookie's Revenge and Pierre and Ziegler have a headcanon.
And it's like the Mummy's Revenge. I know you haven't seen that film.
No.
Oh my goodness, I can't with you guys. You
I
you
still
guys
need
kill
to
me.
yeah, just Sweeney. I
I
I
need you to
just
watch
read the
Sweeney Todd.
I just read the synopsis to Sweeney and I
She
was like,
hasn't
this
seen the
is
movie. You need to watch the
actually I
movie
know I need to
as
see
well.
them.
Now, if you go on the Tinternet and Broadway HD, you could probably find Sweeney Todd, like they've recorded it and like
Mhm.
released it.
Yeah.
I need you to watch it.
Okay.
Okay, I've been telling Lily this for ages, you guys. I need her to catch up to speed with Sweeney because she hasn't been able to see it on Broadway. I
I
need you to.
literally read the synopsis for the first time this past
And
week.
I'm not even kidding you. This is the messages. I know, I need to find the message I got. No,
I was like, this is crazy.
this is, hold on. I have to find this because this is,
And then I read Love Never Dies.
oh, love never dies.
Phantom
Um,
Part Two.
okay,
But yeah.
so basically I need to find like where
And
it
like
is.
it was probably I want to say Thursday.
I don't know when it was, but it was something like, oh, here we go. She
She got
messages
it.
us and she goes, I just read the synopsis for Sweeney Todd. What the hell? And we're like, dude, you didn't know about this? And
I was like,
yeah,
what are the pies about? And then
she
I
was
read it.
like, I
I was like,
knew he,
oh.
yeah, she's like, I knew he killed people with a razor, and that's it. I read the synopsis, and she's like, this is crazy. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, girl, you need to catch up. I was like, and then we told her that she needs to watch it, and we're gonna quiz her about stuff. Um, I literally couldn't. The moment you sent that message, I was dying. Yeah, Lily, I need you to get up on the bandwagon, babes. Um, but yeah, so
Sorry, we got
before we
sidetracked.
went off topic,
We got
that's what
sidetracked.
I think could be a whole episode about what happens next. I have a theory about Christian. Um,
Should we save it? I think we should save it. Or if you want
my theory,
to
the one
preview.
I've been talking about.
Yeah,
What do you want to save it for?
the future scenarios.
No, it's a past scenario.
Oh, yeah. Then go ahead.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Is it the
The London one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I was like,
So
brain fart. Yeah.
I have it's the stupidest theory
It's
ever.
actually so good though.
Okay, so
I would
1899.
believe it.
Look, 1899, weird time. But before 1899, right? So in a thing called London, there was a man in London called Jack the Ripper, right? They never found out who Jack the Ripper was, correct? No, never knew who he was. And it was around the time of like, what was it? It was like 1888. I have a feeling Christian the composer went to London before he came to Paris. Maybe because they always had that thing about Christian the murderer. Maybe Christian the composer was Jack the Ripper, and then he fled to Paris. What if?
I mean,
Mind blown. What
yeah.
if he was Jack the Ripper? I'm just saying.
Anybody could put on an accent and say they're from Lima, Ohio.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Maybe he was from Limo. Limo. I said Limo. Lima went to London, did that stuff, and was like, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna go to Paris and just start a new life, my suffocating life in America.
there you
Wrong.
go.
I was actually a murderer. I'm just
It
saying,
could,
you open it up.
when you think about it, the timeline of events,
Ooh, it's got a bit dark in my room.
the
I
timeline
think,
of all I could see was the eyes from your head.
um, I'm just saying,
You know,
coincidence?
yeah.
I think so.
I remember she texted this in our group chat, and I was just like, yes, this makes
I
sense.
texted, I was like, guys, I have a theory. Maybe Christian was Jack the Ripper. I like that theory. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I would love to know what people think. That's just, it's so stupid,
It's so, but
honestly.
like,
But I just with the whole, I was thinking about it, and I don't know what I was watching, but I was thinking about how, the Christian murderer like theory. I was like, what happens if it's real? And like he was Jack the Ripper, because Jack the Ripper was like 10 years before that.
yeah.
So. They
No,
never found who did it. I'm
no,
gonna call the London
no.
police now, and I'm like, I know who was Jack the Ripper.
Christian,
Christian
the
the composer.
composer.
He's dead,
Middle
but
name, the
the last
last
name
name
composer.
composer.
There you go. You're welcome. London Metropolitan Police. You are welcome. Yeah, that's my really weird theory. Anyway, let's move on. What else do you have to add for this
I
deep
mean, I
dive?
literally wrote in my notes diamonds question because diamonds, the diamonds routine. Are those I mean, my mom's just like you can't even like those can't be real diamonds. I'm like, what if they are though? They don't specify what kind of diamonds they are.
Well, I will say in the playbill it says that they're Swarovski crystals, but we're gonna pretend that they are diamonds. I mean, they are
Ew.
supposed to be diamonds, but I mean, it's gonna cost them a lot of money to get diamonds for all the outfits. You have to be like realistic with that, so that's probably why they use the Swarovski crystals. But I think they
But
are diamonds. They're supposed
yeah,
to be diamonds, but obviously they couldn't
and they do
buy
cost
all
money.
these
Because everything
diamonds are
costs
not cheap.
money.
So they couldn't do it for like every outfit and all that, so that's probably why. Also, if they break, it's not like as big of a
Just, I
loss.
mean, production value. You know,
Production value.
the sewing that Satine comes down from, like the costumes, the costume change.
It is supposed to be diamonds, and Zidler, it
It's
is
just
diamonds. I just want to know where Zidler got all these diamonds from. Which shit?
exactly. Yeah.
That's a lot of diamonds.
I'm
A
like,
lot of diamonds.
maybe we could sell some of those.
Yeah, maybe we could get rid of the chandeliers. the million chandeliers in the Moulin
Exactly.
Rouge?
The million chandeliers you can afford to,
Do
sell
we need that
one or
many?
two.
Do we need the pyrotechnics? Do we, Zidler?
Do we really need like endless bottles of champagne?
Do we need this stuff? Okay, do we? Zidler, Zidler, Zidler. Look, I think if he sat down and looked at his finances, he could maybe, like, do we need
If he was an
the big
actual
elephant?
businessman, a good one, we wouldn't be in this
Exactly.
position. But then we
Maybe.
also wouldn't have the wonderful show that is Moulin Rouge.
That's so true. Do we need the big windmill inside as well as outside? Do
And the
we?
elephant. Do we need the elephant to be Satine's dressing room?
Okay, so true. Does she need a dressing room that big? Like,
Like
also,
the thing for
he's
a dressing room, it's nice, but the decoration, it's cool. But like, does there really need to be an elephant exterior?
exactly. And, he's not doing a great job because it's rats in there. I bet you there's
Yeah,
rats in the
yeah.
Rouge. Mostly because I've always joked about being a rat. That when they had sorry, when they had the costume contest, I was like, I'm gonna dress up as a rat because I feel like that'd be something I would be good at.
Mhm.
But yeah, in terms of money, he has no money. Maybe if we sold one of the 50,000 chandeliers he has,
Exactly.
maybe we might
One.
have some money. But you know what? He
You
was
do you,
also,
Ziegler. You do you.
you do you, Zidler, but I'm just saying,
We're just trying to give you some financial advice over here.
like Finance 101 for Dummies, that's what he needs to read.
Yeah. Like sell one of your many, 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 many,
Chandeliers.
many chandeliers,
Yeah,
and there you have it. You'll get a little bit
exactly.
of a profit from that.
Exactly.
But the
Simple
show
as.
is kind of like extravagance
And
based,
that's what they wanted, and the
yeah.
Moulin Rouge is.
Melange is
Even
a
if
state of mind. It's a state of mind. They want to make it like that. It really is, though. I'm like there, and it's like the opening number. And you're like, whoa.
Well, even if you go to the real Moulin Rouge in Paris, in well, Montmartre,
Which,
Paris
by the
area,
way, is still there
still there,
to
still
this
running.
day.
Um, the inside of that is like insane, and the show is like
Yeah.
crazy,
Hmm.
crazy cool, very expensive. Oh my God, it's like over
Oh, I'm
€100
sure.
plus
Yeah.
to go in. I would love to go one day. Next time I go to Paris. Next time I go to France, I might try and pop over there. I didn't have time, mostly because the last time I went to Paris, I was 14. I don't think a 14-year-old going to the Moulin Rouge
Yeah, no.
is it's a bit frowned
Probably
upon.
not. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. But
Be safe, kids.
yeah, stay in school, kids. Don't go to Paris and go to the Moulin Rouge. Not until you're 18. But yeah, I would like to think that I would I just don't think he would have survived.
Oh,
I think look,
poor Ziedler.
poor
Poor
Zila, but
Ziedler.
then also on the other hand, you reap what you sow. Here comes the
Yeah.
consequences of my own actions.
Right,
So
right.
you reap what you
Like
sow.
they say it in Crazy Rolling. Like
Exactly.
throw your hands through every open door. Count your blessings. I have to like find what you look for, turn my sorrow into treasure gold. You'll pay me back in kind and reap just what you sow. Yeah, reap just what you sow. There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
They're singing that song to Ziedler. There you go.
Yeah, they're not singing
They're
it
not
to each
singing
other.
about each other. They're singing
They
about
sing it to
Ziedler.
Zila. They're like, screw you, Zidler.
We're in love with each other, and we're gonna show you. And the Duke is, yeah,
Basically.
because at that point, the Duke already walked away.
Well, yeah, he was like, nah.
So
He
he
was like,
goes,
nah,
nah.
nah. Um, I do wonder though, like if afterwards as the Duke did like basically have a go at Zidler. I do wonder, like, is he in trouble? Like it's been said before in the past with past interviews, like what happened? Like, is Christian in trouble now?
Mhm.
Is Zidler in trouble now with the Duke or Santiago or Toulouse? I mean, probably not Santiago, but maybe Toulouse, probably, because the way Toulouse
Because
talked
well,
to him.
Santiago is probably on the Duke's good side because
Probably on the good side.
he's the one who choreographed the dance numbers with the
All the
jumping
dancing
and
and the
kicking.
kicking. Um, because he likes the dance number, so he's probably on the good side. But
Yeah.
Toulouse, Christian, and
Toulouse.
Ziedler is
Yeah.
probably up in
Nah. And Satine. But Satine's
well,
dead. So
Satine's dead, so there's not a lot you can do. But I definitely do think that it'd be great to see. But like, I have a feeling maybe he might have basically told him off in a
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Moulin Rouge Part 2.
Moulin Rouge Part Two. These are all things we got to put in the script. Man, that's gonna be a long movie. It's gonna be like a 3 hour
Yeah.
movie.
Made a Titanic.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be Titanic 2.0, but this time.
It's Moulin
Um,
Rouge 2.0.
oh my goodness. Oh, it'd be great. Oscar worthy. Like, I mean, it's gonna be like Hamilton.
Yeah. That was
It's
one of
gonna
been.
it's gonna blow the Broadway theater community away.
Oh, yeah.
And we're gonna run for 50 years. But yeah, so that's what I have for our Zila deep dive.
That is all I have too. Jules is going to
Mm.
New York again.
Woo! Next week
Woo!
for my birthday. For my
So
birthday.
exciting. Oh
Spending
my
my
gosh.
25th
So
in the
excited.
city.
Oh my God.
That's exciting for me because, well, yeah, I always like going to the city. Oh,
Love going to the city.
2 months have passed.
I will be in the city in May with well Jules is coming too.
I already booked my
So
flight.
yeah. Party in the city. It'll be fun. And that's for my birthday weekend. So Jules, our birthdays are like a month apart, and I love it.
Hmm?
Love it.
Um, it's my solo birthday this year, so I'm 25 on the 25th. So big one. Big
Ooh,
birthday. Halfway to 50.
love it.
Yay!
Oh my
I've been alive for a
God.
quarter of a century.
Wow.
Yay.
Adulting. We
All
love
right.
it.
Anyway.
Taxes.
Oh my God,
We love
Declan.
taxes. Um,
Don't forget to file your taxes. Tomorrow's the last tax day, I think. Is
yeah.
tomorrow the last tax day? Yeah, the 15th.
I got my taxes done, so I'm like, oh,
Okay,
thank
good.
God I can breathe.
Um,
I'm reading a book right now. It's called Dungeons and Drama. It's
you're writing a book or
no,
you're
I'm
reading a
reading
book?
it. I'm
I
reading
thought you
it.
said writing.
No. No. I'm reading a book. It's called Dungeons and Drama. It's really good. And it's basically like, well, anyone but you, if anybody has seen that movie with Sydney Sweeney and Gwen Powell, but it's based off of Much Ado About Nothing by Shakespeare. So it's basically that, but make it like Dungeons and Dragons and musical theater. And the character in the book is like learning about Dungeons and Dragons, how to play it, and she has to make up her character, and her character has a name, and she named her Elphaba, and I was like, "This is musical theater."
Oh my goodness.
I was
Give
like,
that book to Liz.
"Oh my God."
Dungeons and Dragons isn't really my thing, but sure, we can
Sure.
Hey, no
I'm
hate.
learning about it. So
No hate to anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons. It's just not a thing I don't think I can do.
we have an inside joke, but
Anyway, we will see you guys
next week.
next time.
Bye everyone.
Bye.